In this video, I'm going to teach you what to say when someone calls you a loser or a simp. And shout out to one of my subscribers, Strong Relaxed 9202, for asking me to do a video on this. And if any of you have ever been called a loser or a simp, then this video is for you, because I'm going to teach you what to say about that, and especially if it comes from a man or a woman. All right, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Kane. I'm the Silver Bachelor. This channel is 100% dedicated to dating advice for older guys. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and the notification button, because I'm dropping a video every day. Okay, listen, man, it sucks ass when somebody is so disrespectful that they call you a loser or a simp. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to break up this video in two parts. I'm going to talk about if a man calls you a loser or a simp, and if a woman calls you a loser or a simp, and what to do about that in both cases. All right, so let's get into this. So first of all, let's deal with the men. I deal with this pretty much on a daily basis on this YouTube channel. Some men come on here and they make comments and they say, I'm a loser, I'm a simp, blah, blah, blah. And listen, it takes a lot to put yourself on camera, first of all, share your weaknesses and your story, and basically to put yourself out there and be vulnerable in front of a camera, in front of an audience, okay? That takes fucking balls. So that alone, there is nothing loser or simp about that, okay? So I will encourage any one of you that are thinking of creating a YouTube channel or videos or content creation, do it, man. You're going to have at the end of the day, very, very few men comment on my channel and say that kind of stuff. But it does happen pretty much on a daily basis. And the majority of the people that have subscribed to this channel, that view my videos, are very supportive. And that's awesome. So thank you so much for that. So here's the thing. If somebody calls you a loser or a simp and it's coming from a guy, right? Usually it will be an online thing. They're not going to say that to you to your face. Otherwise, they're asking for a fight, okay? And most of us guys, we want to avoid fights because there's just too much risk of getting charged, getting arrested, getting hurt, getting your ass beat, or maybe just looking like a freaking dick and it's on camera and people are filming it. Just all kinds of bad things with fighting in public. Somebody calls you that, right? So just remember this. For me personally, right? If they say a loser or a simp, well, first of all, that's not true, okay? I've achieved a lot in my life. I'm very happy with where I am. And as you can see from the place that I live in, how I take care of myself, it doesn't look like I'm a loser or a simp, okay? Now, you don't know what I'm actually like because you haven't met me. And yes, I have had some simp moments in the past, 100%. And I had to learn the hard way. And in fact, I still fuck up sometimes. All of us fuck up. We try something new and, oh shit, that doesn't work, especially in a dating situation, right? Or you really, really like this person and you start to slip. Like you make the mistake of sending too many good morning texts or whatever, and all of a sudden you're simping, okay? So a guy says, what do you say, what do you do if somebody says you're a loser or a simp? Okay, but before I say that, I also just want to cover one other thing. So first of all, the chances of that being true are unlikely. And in my case, not true in terms of loser or simp. The second thing that I just want to cover is that where this is coming from, this is almost, I would say 99% of the time that the guys that say that, they're insecure, they're jealous. You know, maybe they think, oh, look at this guy, he's well put together, he has to be gay, or, oh, he's just a simp, whatever, loser, whatever. And, you know, this is coming from a place of insecurity, jealousy. So, for example, I had one guy recently, you know, over 3,000, let's check this out. He's coming at me, right? So I go to his channel, and I see that he's been on YouTube since 2007, and he has 3,000 subscribers from 2007, okay? I've grown to over 20,000 since October. So 9 months, I have over 20,000. It's taken him over almost 20 years to get 3,000. So that alone, there's a difference right there, right? But I'm not going to get into a pissing contest. So in general, though, I usually don't have comments like that from people with really any subscribers. So this is coming from a place where these people have a faceless and nameless channel with pretty much no subscribers, and yet they're like bashing on you or hating on you. And really, it's coming from a place of insecurity and jealousy. Okay. So what do you say, like, to somebody who says that? Well, if it's online, okay, if it's online, I usually either laugh it off or I throw the shit back in their face, right? So in this guy's example, I'm like, I laughed it off, but I said, hey, look, I'm not the one where I've been trying to get success on YouTube since 2007, and you only have 3,000 subscribers. Like I don't mind a pissing contest to a degree, a little bit, but then at the same time, this is what I said to him. I said, look, I appreciate the comment, or not appreciate the comment in that case, but I said, look, I don't mind constructive feedback, but now you're crossing the line. This continues. I'm going to block you. Okay. So the most important thing with respect to men, right? The most important thing, and this is also women, do not get angry. Do not get upset. You can be a little crass back, or you can be a little flippant back, but you have to have a cutoff point. So with respect to men, that's what I do. I'll address it and give them a warning. One, and I'll say, look, any more comments like that, I will block you. So at the end of the day, this is if you're on YouTube, it's your channel and you get to call the shots. You're the big dog of your channel. So if a man says that in public, calls you a loser or a simp, let's address that one. Okay. So most men are not going to fight. All right. Think about the animal kingdom. When a big dog, right, is approaching a cat, do you think that cat runs off right away? If they can't really run off right away, they stand their ground, they put their back up, and they present themselves in this kind of threatening way. So this is what I suggest. If somebody calls you a loser or a simp, you address that motherfucker, right? And I'm going to say it like that. You look at them and say, hey, look, that's not cool, and I don't like what you've just said to me. That will stun every man, especially if he's bigger than you, he's larger than you, taller, whatever. No man is expecting that. So you hold your ground, but then you say, look, I don't appreciate what your tone, I don't appreciate you have a bad attitude, and face him, okay? There's not going to be a fight. Believe me, this has happened to me many times. And I'm not a tall guy and I'm not a big guy. And believe me, if I stand up or I look at some guy right in the face and I say, look, you got a shitty attitude and I don't like your tone right now. So why don't we but you do have to find an exit, right? You obviously don't want to have a fight, but the most important thing is you stand up for yourself in an eloquent way. And so that's the thing to remember. Don't get upset. Be a gentleman, be eloquent, but hold your ground. And especially this is important when you're around women and you're dating, because if you don't say something, she's going to see you as a simp, as a beta, if you don't say something. And I remember I made this mistake during my married, when I was married before. So I've been single for 2.5 years and I was married for 20. So there was a couple instances where some guy challenged me in some situation and I didn't stand up for myself in that situation. So shame on me for that. But now, if any of that shit happens to me, I call it. Like, for example, I had a situation recently with a police officer and I had too much to drink that night. I'll share this story. I was out with a bunch of friends. I was leaving and all of a sudden, because I tried hookah for the first time a few weeks prior and I had this nosebleed problem. So I leave the bar, I'm a little tipsy, and all of a sudden my freaking nose starts bleeding. I'm like, what the hell? So my nose is bleeding and I'm trying to like take care of it. And a police officer walks right up to me and says, "Are you drunk?" And I said, "No, I'm not drunk." He said, "Well, what's wrong with you?" Because you see me bleeding. And I said, "I had these nosebleeds because I was doing hookah." And he says, "Well, you need to leave." So this guy was being a real fucking prick. So I said, "Look, can you give me a moment because I'm taking care of this problem?" And he's like, "Well, you need to go down the street." So I go down the street, took care of it, and then I walk back. And I walked back to the officer and I said, "Look, officer, that wasn't cool. That here I was, I'm trying to take care of myself and you're being kind of a jerk." And he looks at me and is like, "Well, you're in an area you're not supposed to." I said, "Well, look, obviously I was in need of some assistance and I had a nosebleed. So I wanted to just let you know that maybe your approach could have been better." This is what I'm talking about. Even fucking police officer, I will stand up to them. Again, I know my limits. So that's the thing. Know your limits. But people, you need to stand up for yourself and tell people, look, what you said, what you did is not cool. I don't like it. And fix your attitude, even if they're bigger. So that's men, okay? And I know it's going to be a little longer video, and thanks for watching. And I'm getting to this, but I'm going on a bit of a rant. And this is what one of my subscribers wanted me to cover. So bear with me. All right, next, women. Woo-hoo-hoo. Women have called me a loser or a simp, mostly on, okay, in two situations. One, I've rejected them. So they call me a loser or a simp when I've rejected them. I've said, look, I'm not feeling a connection after a couple dates, and I send them a text or on the phone or whatever, or in person. And so, those cases, they'd get absolute fucking vile with me. So obviously, what do you say in that situation? You say, well, I wish you all the best in what you're looking for, and block them. Okay? That's how you deal with that one. This one's a little trickier, and that is when you're actually dating or you're in a long-term situation and the woman calls you a loser or a simp. This has happened to me. So it took me a few tries to get this right, and this is what I want to share with you. So if she calls you a loser or a simp, just remember this. That didn't happen overnight. You have basically, she's gone from shit tests, right? Because this is rarely, that's a third thing. This has happened in a shit test situation. So I'll deal with that one after. But the second one is where you're in an LTR and she calls you a loser or a simp. Well, remember that now it's disrespect because you failed shit tests earlier, right? So, and I'm going to address the shit tests in a moment, but you've failed the shit tests earlier and now she's disrespecting you. So that is a telltale. So first of all, what you say is you need to address it right there and then and say, look, I don't appreciate what you just said and I don't like that tone. Now you need to work on your masculine frame because she's doing that because you've lost your masculine frame. You haven't been taking the lead. You haven't been standing up for yourself, or you've been crying, right? A lot because of different things happening to you. Because the thing is, us men, when we get more comfortable with a woman, this is a weakness we all have, is you have to be careful of not crying often around a woman, let alone revealing your weaknesses. Oh, I think I might get fired. Oh, I went to transfer some money and I just lost $500. Like, stop telling women your weaknesses or reduce it to like down to like minimal, and stop crying all the time in front of them. Like, reduce it. If you want to cry, go cry with your buddies. So that's what's happened. Now she's calling you loser or simp and you're in an LTR. It's because you've lost that masculine frame. So now you have an opportunity to gain that back and stop doing the things you were doing before that lost your masculine frame. But most importantly, you address it and you tell her, look, I don't like your tone. Don't speak to me like that, because I certainly don't call you names and speak to you like that. Most times the woman will recognize that and stop, but she'll keep it going if you haven't fixed that masculine frame problem. So now let's address the shit test. So this has happened to me a few times where I'm on a few dates and a woman would say, oh, you're so stupid, in a joking way, or, oh, you loser. Well, again, back to masculine frame. How I deal with it is say, hey, look, I know we're poking fun at each other and we're having a good time and stuff like that, but I really don't like that. And please don't say loser or whatever the word was when we're around each other, okay? And they, every single time they've checked it, they've stopped because they're like, okay, you're the boss, you're the leader, you're the alpha, you're the masculine one, and they stop. So at the end, so ultimately, man, just think about this. Women who have respect for you will not say words like that, whether or not you have masculine frame or not, but it helps a lot if you keep that masculine frame. And number two, from a men's perspective, successful men are too damn busy working on their purpose. They're too damn busy being successful. They're not going to call you loser or simp in general, unless you have your own YouTube channel like I do, okay? Or second, you're at some nightclub and there's a VIP table and you're kind of near the table and they want you to leave because they've got their ego all poofed up because they're bottle service and all this shit. And this is one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of going to nightclubs, because of the testosterone floating around, a lot of it, and men just get poofed up attitudes. So if you're standing near, and this happened to me one time where I was standing near the bottle service, but I was outside of the area that they had, and this guy kept giving me a hard time. He didn't say loser or simp. When I turned to him, like I told you, this is what you need to, I turned to him and said, look, bro, I'm outside of your zone. Stop coming up to me and telling me I need to move. I'm not moving. Didn't bother me after that. So that's the thing. Also, just recognize if a guy calls you a loser or a simp, he's triggered by something. So try to recognize that. Maybe you knocked over something near her or near where he's sitting, or you keep looking at the girl he's with or something. Like, just be aware of that, but address that behavior. So anyways, I know this has been a long video. I'm kind of rambling on and on and on, but I hope you've got some nuggets out of this, and I hope it helps with your normal life and your dating life. All right, we'll see you next time.